Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another episode. Today I've got a longtime virtual mentor of mine and someone who helped usher in my career into the clinical research industry. We've got Dan Sfera here with the Clinical Trials Guru. Dan, thank you so much for being with us today. How are you doing?
Good, man. It's hard not to say your name, but I'm doing very good, ECRG. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for keeping with the anonymity, and I'm actually really glad that
I almost said it. I almost said your name.
that's okay. I can always edit this in post-production
Okay,
and beep it
good,
out if
good.
that's the case.
That's good.
So thank you so much for coming on the program. This is actually your first time on my channel and my audio experience that I have. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that today.
Yeah, man. I had to get on to promote this book because you've got the biggest channel on YouTube besides, of course, mine. But how much can I push on my own channel?
Of
I
course,
gotta start going on other people's channels. So
of
you
course.
you by far have the biggest, and you've been the most consistent also, despite not being on camera. Which I mean, imagine if you were, like, you would have
Oh, for
three
sure,
times the subscribers.
for sure.
So it's amazing what you've done, and you've inspired actually my study coordinator, who I can introduce you to later. He started his own YouTube channel, Kobe Sugihara,
Hmm.
and I mean, he's got less than 12 subscribers. He's only been doing it for a month, but I told him to subscribe to you and watch what you've been doing. So I think you're paving the way also, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out to actually DJ Academics, who does videos just like mine. He doesn't show his face either, and he's got over 2 million subscribers. And I'm sure there's other ones too.
Oh,
But
really? The
yeah,
guy from Complex?
yeah, he started out on YouTube, and he
Wow.
does just GIF video. You should check out his channel. He does just
I do
GIFs.
check out his channel, but you know what? I've seen, because I know who you're talking about. I've seen him, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
I've seen him on other people's channels, so I know what he looks like, but
right.
I guess you're right on his own channel. Okay, cool, man.
Yeah, so I got
Cool.
the idea from him, and I knew it could work. And not only that, I knew it. That's what I had to do in order to, uh, not cause any rifts or cause any problems. So
Look, man, you're just proving that there's no excuse to not putting yourself out there if you want to build a brand and you work for someone. Unlike me, it's easy for me to turn on. I mean, I can almost do anything, and I'm not going to get in trouble.
right,
My brand may suffer, but I'm not getting fired.
right.
But I think you're an example for those that are W-2 employees that still have ambitions and are trying to do it in a way that doesn't jeopardize their career. And voice is tough. It's tough to recognize someone by voice.
It is tough.
You can say that's not you if somebody's listening.
That's true.
Have you gotten that yet? Have you dealt with that?
I have actually a good friend of mine. He was becoming a CRA, and he's actually on my channel too. I did an interview with him. But he did recognize me, and I'm glad it was him because he just like texted me. He was like, "Yo, I was listening on Spotify. I just typed in clinical research, or he typed in clinical research associate, and he came across my podcast, and he was like, I swear this guy sounds just like you." And so then I was like, "Yeah, that's
I'm
me."
surprised you didn't do like a voice filter, like to change it up a little.
I thought about like maybe like making it a little lower or a little higher.
Yeah.
It only takes just a little bit to
Yeah.
throw it off. But I felt like with me like just talking into the mic, it would like make it you know a little
Yeah,
different.
voice is one of the hardest things to tell. Like you have to know someone really well to recognize their voice.
Right. And then now since I'm a CRA, I'm not like really in the office that much. I'm not really interacting with that many different people on a daily basis. So I think it's fine
It's cool,
for
man.
now.
You've been doing good, and you're a testament to what people can be doing. And anyone who says, "Oh yeah, because I get this a lot. I can't do what you're doing because I work for, the devil," and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to say go to ECRG. I think I have been telling them, look at this guy. He's it's just his voice with like cool images on the screen. So that's just an excuse.
Right. Either that or just come work for you, right?
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet.
Unless they want to open a site somewhere I don't have a site, then that's good.
Okay. So we're here for the release of your book. And when's it coming out?
Around the middle of April. And
Oh,
it's going to be a paperback, it's going to be a Kindle, and it's going to be an Audible version also. And the Audible is almost like two books. It's like I'm kind of doing what David Goggins did. I don't know if you follow David
yeah, I
Goggins.
saw him on Rogan one day.
Yeah, he's a beast. So I didn't read his book, but his audio book, I have it, and it's like two books. It's like he reads his book, but then he pauses and goes off script with a co-host. And so that's what Chris and I, who's the co-author,
Hmm.
are going to be doing. We're going to read through the book. It's about 200 pages, but then wherever it gets interesting, we're going to just go off, talk about anecdotal experiences, funny stories. It'll almost be like a podcast slash book.
Wow, that sounds like that's going to be so much added value just from those stories and things from the book. So, can you tell us what the title of the book is, what it's going to be about, who's the book directed towards, like who should be
Yeah.
buying this book, things like that?
Yes. Anyone in research should buy it. It's meant to be, so it's called The Comprehensive Guide to Clinical Research. And the subtitle is A Practical Handbook to Master the Clinical Research Industry.
Hmm.
Essentially, what we have in this industry, first of all, the primary audience is people that are curious about research, maybe as a career, and just want to learn more of the big picture. The second audience is actually people like you back when you first started,
Hmm.
right? Like the way this industry works, you get specialized from the beginning, and it's very easy to pigeonhole yourself in that one little section of research
Hmm.
and just be ignorant to everything else. Even as a site owner, like as a site, I started out as a coordinator for the first 5 years. I had no clue, nor did I care, like what the difference between a CRO and a sponsor and what a project manager and what an in-house CRA. I could care less about those things. I was just busy with my sites trying to figure out how to do the studies. I could care less, but there's a whole, I mean, that's a huge side of the industry. I was
Hmm.
only dealing with like a micro segment of what's out there. So what we're doing is we're taking a bird's eye view of everything in this industry that's important: sponsors, CRO, site. Then we get into all the vendors as well, like IRB, the technology vendors, which are going to gain more prominence as this decade turns into the next. And so people can get a macro overview of anything that they're not familiar with,
Hmm.
and we encourage them to explore further on their own. But we give them like a little bit of a kickstart in that direction. So if you work at a site but you're curious about being a CRA, there's stuff there for you, or vice versa. If you're a CRA and you want to own a site, you can learn. And of course, for the research naive, I mean, everything's there, and then they can pick what they're interested in.
Okay, that sounds really really cool. So it's something for everybody. And then of course, if you're not very like if you're not very up to date on like what one position does, you can read up on them too.
That's right. And if you own a site, and I mean, I would buy one for my site and just give it to the new employees that come in, like the new coordinators, the new assistants. Say, here, read this. This is going to give you 80% of everything you'll ever need to know. And then you can explore further. At least you know, at least after reading the book, you're going to know what you don't know.
Right. And it sounds like anyone, not even just for sites, anyone coming in fresh out of college or however you get in entry level, this book would be good for.
That's
Because
right.
when you're first getting into the industry, like you said, there's so much to learn, and there's
Do
not
you
a
know how
great
many
way.
acronyms they threw at me when I was in my first year as a coordinator?
Right.
First of all, I took over a company that was negative in balances and owed debts to hospitals, and so I could care less what my monitors were asking me, but they were throwing acronyms at me like CLIA. Do you
Hmm.
have a CLIA waiver? And I was like, yeah, we do. And then I like ran to my office and Googled what a CLIA waiver is. You know? And there's just so many examples of that I had to deal with and learn the hard way. And I think if I had like a book, I mean, I would have read this book. I would have like had this on my desk.
Hmm.
because we talk about CLIA waivers in there. I mean, we get really detailed as far as like the different requirements. So there's something that is missing from the industry, and that's why we're putting it out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because I wouldn't even know where to find information like that other than like Google or something like that. But
Yeah,
even
but
then
then
on
if you don't
Google,
know what to Google, like how, what do you do when you don't know to Google something?
right. Yeah, exactly right. You don't know what to do after that.
No, like
Um,
I didn't no clue what a CLIA waiver was. It was just four random letters strung together. Like I'm never going to Google that randomly. You
right.
put me in front of a keyboard, I'm not typing CLIA like in a million tries.
Exactly right. And even if you do happen to find something, there's usually not a good amount of information on it, or even a good little uh, blog post or anything about
Right,
these specific topics. So that's really
right.
good. You're putting this out there for people to have a lot of information about it.
That's right. Another example is like protocol deviations versus protocol violations.
Mm.
Okay. Like technically, and I just learned this last week in researching the book. Did you know that technically there shouldn't be deviations? Every deviation, like 90% of deviations, should actually be violations.
Hmm.
But nobody in the industry calls them that.
No, I've never heard the difference between a violation. I just know protocol deviation,
Yeah. And the two
and I know there's
words came
different
because
levels.
some cancer researchers, I forgot the institution, but they established their own policies. This is a deviation, this is a violation. And then the industry kind of adopted those words, but CROs, violation doesn't sound that good. And the sponsors don't want to hire a CRO where they're committing a lot of protocol violations, but deviation's a little bit better. So that started becoming the commonly used word. But technically, violations is what a protocol deviation actually is.
Hmm. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. So there's a nice tidbit for you guys listening out there.
Yeah, but the bottom line of that is don't get confused. Everything's a deviation. Despite the reason I brought that story up is even if I were new to the industry and Googled somehow, like divine inspiration hit me and I Googled deviation and violation, what's the difference?
Hmm.
I would be confused and I would be misinformed because in the actual industry, it's different than what you're reading online. That's academic. When you go to the workforce and you say something's a violation, and your line manager is going to tell you, no, what are you talking about? That's a deviation, you know? And
Hmm.
then you say, oh, well, I read on this website that it's a, no. You're going to get in trouble. That's a deviation.
Right. That's a good point. Because even once you find out what a protocol deviation is, you got to know the next steps. How do you rectify it? What are you going to do after that? After you even notice it is a deviation.
Yep.
So is there going to be some of that in your book too?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to confuse people. We're just giving them like the practical aspects. Here's what you need to know. If it's not in here, it doesn't mean it's not important, but it means you could probably get by without having to worry about it.
Okay.
But there is a whole nother world. You can each section in the book, you can write another book on just that section if we wanted to get that detailed. But and maybe we will later, but for now, we just wanted to give like the 80-20 rule to people.
Hmm.
Learn this book, know 80% of what you'll ever need to know.
Right. 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 Okay. And this book kind of reminds me of that intro to clinical research video you put out, like maybe it was like 4 or 5 years ago, where you went on for like 2 hours about it.
Yeah.
That, by the way, that was like one of the most helpful videos I think I've ever seen on YouTube.
Wow, that's big time, man.
Well,
It's actually embarrassing looking back at it, and I created that new one this year.
mm-hmm.
It's like a 4.5 hour because I learned so much. I made that video in 2010 and I didn't post it till 2012.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, like there's just so much more that I didn't put in there. It took another 2 hours and a half, and I'm way more articulate now than I was then and knowledgeable, and it's still not enough time, man. So, it just shows that you're always learning and it's really never enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've written other books, right, and other guides. So what made you want to do like a much bigger, more thorough one as opposed to the other guides you've done? Because I believe those are shorter.
Those are way shorter.
Yeah.
I so those ones, the reason I wrote those books those were 99-cent books for Kindle and for my email subscribers. They were really to get more awareness for my brand. So Amazon's the third biggest search engine in the world. People forget this. It's like it's Google, it's YouTube, and then it's Amazon. It's not Bing, it's not Yahoo, it's not Ask Jeeves, it's Amazon. So if you don't have a presence on Amazon, you're missing out on the top 3 search engines, right? It's not just for shopping. So I wanted to have clinical research on there. And it served its purpose for a while. I was able to get one out on recruitment, how to get studies for your site, how to manage a coordinator, and then one for patients, which was like the first one I wrote, which I was happy with those. I think they provide value. I would have put them out for free. I didn't put them out to make money, but Amazon forces you to charge 99 cents.
At
That's
least.
the minimum.
Yeah.
Right. So I put them out for that. But I wasn't happy with that. Like, I really think we needed, especially now with the CRA Academy that I have, I needed like a serious textbook for people who really want to learn like the 20% that's going to help them learn 80% of what's out there in the industry. So I always knew we had to write this textbook, and there's other publishers that are putting out like just non-useful and very expensive books that are just like, I'm not mentioning names, but if you open it and read it, all right, it's just forms you can find online. And they're charging. I mean, it really is. Like, the books look like this thick.
Right.
Okay. But when you look inside it, it's all tables and charts that you can get on the internet. And they're not really telling you like what you need to know, like from a practical perspective.
Right.
And so we needed to put that out, and we hate writing. Me and Chris, we hate writing. Like, I still type with like 2 fingers. Like, I don't even know how to type without looking at the screen.
Oh, wow.
So it took a while to do this, but I think we need to do it, man. I think we have to put it out there.
Okay. So you mentioned the previous books were 99 cents. Do you have any update on the pricing for this book, or do you want to share that yet?
No, I do. What's that number? Let me look here. Okay, so it's going to be $49.99.
Okay.
Right? And honestly, I don't know about Audible. I think we're going to charge less because I only want it to cost people 1 credit. I know if you charge like more on Audible, it's going to take 2 credits. I only want to charge 1 credit on Audible.
Okay.
So whatever the number is for 1 credit on Audible is what it'll cost. On Amazon, the paperback will be $49.99. The Kindle will probably be the same. I actually want to encourage people to buy the paperback, even though I make more money on the Kindle. I think it's better, like with the charts. We're going to have charts in there too, but like real charts. We're going to have like stuff that they don't want to put. Like, we're having a trip report in there from our CRO. Like, here is a monitoring report.
Nice.
Like, boom, just like take that, right?
So you can see it, see what it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. And it's half the price of our closest competitor, which is I'm comfortable with. But for your listeners, if they text Guru,
Okay.
GURU, to, let me tell you the number, 31996.
31996. Okay.
If you text Guru to 31996 on the day that we release it, for like the first hour or 2, or I don't know, however long I remember to keep it up for, we're going to sell the Kindle version for 99 cents.
Oh, okay. Wow. For the first hour. So
first hour or 2, or if I fall asleep, like 4. however long I remember. And then I'll set it back to be the regular price. I don't require anyone to review it, but if you read it, if you get it at that price point, and you send me a screenshot of your receipt and a review, you can put 1 to 5 stars. I'll send you the paperback, for free to you. So that's for your listeners.
Ooh, I love that. That's
ECRG
just for
listeners.
us.
Yeah, just for you guys and whoever else is already on that text message list, because I've already been been doing some Instagram marketing for it.
Okay. I love that. Making me feel like a real YouTuber out here.
That's right, man. That's right. And it's a good way to get, I want to hit that #1 Amazon bestseller so I could put that sticker on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And in the health reference category or whatever category we're going to put it in, we're not going to game the category either. It's going to be like related to the book. I know some authors, they just put it in a category that nobody's interested in,
Mm-hmm.
like, just random stuff like three-headed lizards sections. Like, of course you're going to be #1. We're going to actually put it like in a real category.
Okay. So let me go over that one more time. So text Guru at 31996 on the day of the release.
Yes.
And
no, text it now so that when it's released, you'll get that text.
Oh, you're sending out a text. Okay, so text it now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to 31996. All right.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that way you'll, like, as soon as it's released, you'll know, and then you can go to Kindle right there. I'll have the link. You buy it, 99 cents, screenshot it, write a review, send me that, and then I'll send you the book, and then in a few hours it's going to be $49.99.
Okay. Now, I would love to review it too on my channel.
Thank you, man.
How do you feel about that? You think it will meet the ECRG test?
Yep, I'm going to send you a special copy when we get it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would appreciate a review from you as well. I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. Because I definitely want to make sure that it is, something that's going to be helpful for the listeners and things of that nature. I know
Right.
it will.
I hope so. I mean, I'm a good writer. I just hate doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris is the co-author, and he's also a good writer, but he hates doing it. And I was getting carried away with this one, man. I wrote my part first, then I sent it to him, and he's been, he told me, hey, man, you're writing like it's way too complicated what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go back and rewrite it all. Like, it's almost like another book now.
So,
like, we really simplified it because it's hard to remember where I was because this was 05, 06, 07, like when I really didn't know anything.
mm-hmm.
And now I'm almost writing like an insider, which is not a good thing. It's very hard to put yourself in the perspective of the reader who maybe doesn't even know what a site is. Like,
Right.
What is a site? Are you talking about a website? Are you talking about, like, what kind of site? I don't understand what's a site.
Right. When you've been in the industry, over a decade, right? At least.
Yeah, since 05, man. It's way too long.
Wow. So yeah, I can see how that would be difficult adjusting to that.
Mm-hmm. But I hope we provide value. I really do, and I honestly think the audio book is going to be the best version of the book.
I'm a big fan of audiobooks because I like to go on like my runs or like my walks for like an hour or so, and that's a great time to just knock out an audiobook.
Yeah, man, those things are awesome. I love Audible.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people are definitely going to enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been working on this book for?
I've been working on it since the summer of last year. Honestly, I would have never done it without our assistant, Lucky.
Uh-huh.
Lucky's awesome. He was on a podcast with me back in September. We were talking about the book, and it was like all we had was the intro. But he went through. Here's what Lucky did. Okay, I mean, without Lucky, this book could not have been done. Or it probably could have, but it wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just put it that way. So he went through every single module in my Site Owner Academy. Okay, so that's 12-hour-long modules. All right. Then he went through every module in the CRA Academy, which is another 12-hour-plus long modules. So right there is like 24 hours of just content,
Mm-hmm.
like just a day's worth. You push play, and like until the next day, you could be watching stuff, right? So he extracted the information. He understands research, and then he followed an outline I gave him, and he started putting pen to paper, and then it started coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And that took him like 3 months. And then when he gave me that's when I went to work. Okay, this is what we need to add. Once I have that starting point, I know where to go. But it's just getting all that. We have tons of content, and we just had to get it off of those academies and into Microsoft Word.
Got you. Wow. So that's definitely
tough.
definitely a journey.
Yeah, I mean, without Lucky, I don't know if this would have gotten done, honestly. It would have just been a good idea.
Right, right. But I think this is definitely something that the industry needs, and you know the people need. Because I wish I had something like this when I was getting in the industry. Because it took
Yeah,
me
man.
months to get in. I couldn't imagine having this month one, and that would have definitely made my interviews better. It would have made my application better.
Everything, man.
Everything.
It just there's so much bullshit out there, and I'm really glad like people like you are starting to make channels, and like I told you earlier, Kobe,
Hmm.
like coordinators are starting to make YouTubes. Like we're starting to cut through that bullshit, which
Hmm.
has always been keeping people like, you know, I feel like before we started doing all these things, there was just like a few big players that controlled the distribution of knowledge in this industry,
Right.
and you had to pay to get that info,
Right.
or they would keep it and then change the rules so they can benefit. Like, you know, and there's still a lot of that nonsense going on, but I feel like
Yes.
it's less of it now. And with the younger generation, the millennials and Gen Z, I think we're going to have a different industry. And I think that's going to open up like a lot of transparency in the industry, and it's going to allow for more innovation, actually.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so.
See what happens, man.
We'll see what happens. So just wrapping up here. Do you have any last things you want to say about the book uh, to the audience?
No, I think I said enough. I mean, it's, you know, it's a good book. I think if you text, you know, join that text number 31996, I think you're going to get tremendous value. You're going to get, I'm going to lose money on you when you join my text list. Um, but you're going to get two books out of it, right? And you're going to help me become a number one bestseller in some category
Hmm.
that we pick. Um, I really think that we could have gone really deep into any of the sections and made other books out of just those sections, which we might do later. So I know, like, it's not going to be everything you ever need to know,
Right.
but it's going to show you what you don't know yet and allow you to then go online and start learning some of these other things on your own.
Hmm.
And I think that's the real value from the book. Um, and that's, you know, it's the book I wish I had when I started.
There it is. I appreciate that tremendously. So, like you said, you can text Guru to 31996 and you will get a text back from that number and you will get a discounted copy, a heavily discounted copy of the book if you comply with what the text says within the first hour to 2 hours. So where can people find you or find out more about you if this is their first time hearing about you or listening to anything you've done?
Yeah, if it's first time, hello, you're in good hands with ECRG here. I'm Dan Sfera on YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, but I feel like people don't really use Snapchat anymore. Um, Instagram, LinkedIn, um, Facebook, just go to Dan Sfera on anything. But if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously that'd be the easiest place, or the podcast. I have a podcast called The Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru.
Okay. So I'll definitely put all that information and the links in the description box after I upload this. So if you missed any of that, you can find it there. And thank you so much, Dan. This was a pleasure.
Thank you, ECRG. I appreciate it a lot, man. Keep doing your thing with the videos. I mean, you haven't even started to cover the amount of possible content that you can cover. Like, there's just
It's
tons of
endless.
stuff.
It's
It
endless.
is it's endless, man. Like, people do not understand. It's just it doesn't end. You know, you did a video about India. You did a video about just about every big company out there. Um, I'm amazed you haven't gotten sued by anyone yet, but you haven't really said
I don't
anything
say
negative.
bad things in those videos.
Yeah, I know. You're just reading other people's stuff.
Right. For the most part, I don't know. I do put some things in there, but I'm not going to like straight up trash a company.
No,
Actually,
that's some of them.
there was
Some of
one
them should
company.
be straight up trashed, but yeah.
Yeah, especially some of the games they try and run on their employees and stuff.
I
I don't
watched the
like
one
that.
where you were pissed. I forgot what it was called, but you were like really upset about something last year, and I watched it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was someone I knew that got racially discriminated against.
Okay. Was it that? I think okay.
Because I had the
I don't
angry
know if it was
emoji
that
on
one.
it.
Maybe. I think it was something about like they changed the salary on them or something, right? Is that the same one?
Yeah, it was something about the salary. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
was like, yeah, this is good, man. You need to get angry when appropriate.
yes. One appropriate, of course. Uh, but thanks again, Dan. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, ECRG. I appreciate it as well. And yeah, I'm gonna send you a book once it's out, and then that'd be amazing. Like I will share, I will download and pirate that video. I will do anything you want me to. That's gonna be awesome. I've never had anyone do a video on any of my products, so that would be amazing.
Of course, of course.